Welcome to the Google Hangout, enemy of the state. Okay. Just doing last minute patches. We're getting some feedback on on the sound, so somebody is looking into that. We have our guest lined up. Alifika mapema sana leo. Atakuwa kwanza mpaka akakunywa chai.
Sabia.
Atili kunya kile katurungi.
Bana.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our series of Enemy of the State, hosted by Maskani ya Taifa here at on the Google Hangout. Please remember that you can follow Maskani ya Taifa on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @Maskani254. You can also join our Facebook. We are on Facebook, and of course, we are here on the Google Hangout. Our series on Enemy of the State is dedicated to talking to different people that are doing interesting work around social justice, the issues of governance and democracy, the issues of human rights, and generally raising awareness and social consciousness, so that all the people of our republic can be proud to kujivunia kuwa wa Kenya. The series every time we host it, we will have a different personality, and this week we are very excited to have our very own young, charismatic, energetic, head bumping entertainer, but who is also very involved in the issues of social justice, the issues of youth development, youth empowerment, looking out for the lesser fortunate in our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Juliani.
Thank you.
Umefurahi? Sikuoni hapa hivi kwa nini yangu boss.
Kwa
Technician wako kwani kumekuaje? Sikuoni kwa screen.
Mimi sijabonyeza, mimi najiona.
Oh, wewe unajiona? I hope wase wote wanakuona kila mahali wako.
I hope so.
Sasa si ugote wase uambie ni nani? Uambie story zako kifamilia, chuo ulisomea wapi? Juliani ni nani?
Nashukuru sana fundi wa mtambo kwa kunikaribisha siku ya leo. But of course nashukuru sana kwa hapa hivi na kuongea na say about what we do and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve. Muziki especially because yeah, we all understand what how powerful music is. But as far as mimi mwanamuziki tu jamaa fulani try kuhustle, try to make it kwa hii Kenya, unajua.
Pia wewe unaweza nini ati wewe ni hustler?
Mimi ni hustler buda. We're trying to make it, all of us are trying to make it not out, but we're trying to make something out of what we have in this country. So what sign at Julius Owino. I'm a musician, and of course I began my career like 10 years ago in 2002, I think, even more than 10 years ago. So when I was in high school, so I began doing music, and of course I wasn't good at anything isipokuwa muziki. I found out grades naza testify. But of course the beautiful thing about this country is that as long as you're hardworking and as long as you have a vision about something, a lot is yet.
So a lot to do is just listen and engage maybe if you have a question for me.
Yeah.
Umesema Julius Owino.
Yeah.
Sasa Juliani ilitoka wapi?
Juliani nilikuwa baptized na Kalamashaka. Johnny Vigeti is the one who gave me the name, and of course I proudly adopted it, yani, so because I respected him so much, and alinipatia an identity, a place to belong in the ukofani Mau. So that's why niliadoptio jina. Of course kuna places nikienda wasa wanijui wasema wana expect manzi wanashtuka kuona msana mandevu hapo, unajua. So
una ndevu huko tu na nywele.
Ndiye aka hivi kana kama.
Wapi hivi vitu hivi tuone kama kuna ndevu. Kwa hivyo tuseme, kwa hivyo na umesema stories za shule ilikuwa wapi tao? Nairobi ama
shule ilikuwa Dandora, so my primary level nilifanya Dandora primary. Kunaitwa Wangu, and then of course my secondary nikadu Dandora high school. Yeah, so hapo ndio nilisoma, but nilifika form 4. As I said, of course and the report form, but sikufanya mbaya sana. Unaona?
Hujaendea report form?
Sijaendea.
Ngoja, hujaendea report form sababu kuna school fees outstanding ama unaogopa ile utapata hapo hivyo?
Wacha tutuseme yani for inaitwangaje ile kizungu, unavoidable reasons ama kitu kama hiyo.
Unavoidable circumstances.
But of course I always go there, and tumeenda huko a couple of times Dandora could do some projects huko, so si ati sababu nini. Sababu of course sijaendea because I realized that in life yani it takes more than a paper.
What I was saying is that on the Hangout we have a panel of people that also have questions, and they would be able to ask you the questions that they have. We were talking about school and being in Dandora and growing up in Dandora and you know, your education and your background. So I'll ask if Kimani Nyoike is online. Kimani, can you hear me? Kimani, are you online? Okay, as we try.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Could you please go ahead with your question?
Juliani, Mama Juliani.
Niaje. Unaweza ongea kizungu Ni try pia mimi
Amina ongea. Swali ni ukigrow up D. Maisha ilikuwaje vile ukiconsider vile D na kwa notorious insecurity na nini kinds.
That's the issue, because for us when we were growing up ilikuwa ni home, unajua, so si hapa kwa news ati ni notorious insecurity we don't see that, unajua. When tulikuwa mtaani we didn't see all that, we didn't see the insecurity, we saw home where uko na familia yako, uko na friends, uko na nini. And of course we have occasionally yani tuko na young people, most of them walikuwa wanauliwa because of getting involved in crime na kila kitu. So ilikuwa hard, but for me haikuwa hard sana because maybe nita snitch, but sikuwa on the wrong side of the law sana, isipokuwa bro wangu, and of course some of my friends I knew them, and then even some of them lost their lives. Yani nilikuwa nasikia msee alibaki, when ukisikia msee amebaki juu amepigwa na mob huko ama ameshutiwa na polisi, unaona. But it wasn't that hard that sasa but we call it home for us.
Kimani Nyoike, we are good. So Juliani, let me ask you a question. So okay, go ahead, Kim.
Kuna kitu Juliani umemention about vile ulikuwa msempoa na apart from brother yako, kuna kitu kai umemention. So kuna vile ukigrow up D ili impact life yako leo.
Kimani, please, Kimani Nyoike, please repeat the question. Hata mimi sikuisikia poa. Juliani, you get question?
Yeah, sijasikia.
Kimani Nyoike, if you could please repeat the question.
Okay, samna nisikia poa. Swali lilikuwa kwa hiyo statement yenye Juliani umemake, the last statement. Kuna vile umemention ulikuwa msempoa mtaani except bro yako. Na pia ningetaka kujua vile ukigrow D vile ili impact life yako leo.
Of course, some of my content and everything I talk about the basis of why I'm saying what I say or I speak ni experience yangu living in Dandora. Unaona, because Dandora was I lived there for 20 plus years, yani unajua, and my family still lives there, unaona. So a lot of things that were happening that time, even now, impact sana how I view my country, how I think as a musician, even when it comes to my faith, unaona. But mi nilikuwa more of an observer. I used to like watching people do stuff and of course document it, and then that's how I became a musician, unaona. But for us, people, art and music yani made sense sana, because it gave us a alternative way out, unaona, because you're not good in school, unaona, sometimes and sometimes of course hauko poa kidogo pia, so music gave us a way out, and it gave us an alternative and how to give us an identity and our place to belong, unaona.
Yeah. In fact, ni vizuri monge kuhusu, you've talked about music and you've talked about that music give you a way out. If music give you a way out, Julian, unataka kuniambia books are not the only way out?
Books?
Hey.
That is wild kitukai. There is an expression. Books is not the way out, Buddha. Books gives you a direction. Books gives you a direction, inakupatia definition of things, inakupatia wakili, unajua. But I determine your future. The books are there, are necessary. Access. Our fathers worked so hard yani for us to go to school. Fathers worked so hard yani for us to go to school. And to know, but we thought that was the only way. Our brothers pass wanaenda university employment, unajua. We saw that we thought that until yani the people wanasema so it took necessary for us to go to necessary for everybody to go. That's just for you to become whoever you want to be.
We are getting some feedback. When we're trying to understand what is going on. Let's try to figure out what is going on. Just hold on. I think that one of the issues was talking about your musical journey. We had stopped at the section where you were talking about that music give you a way out of Dandora, alafu tukaongea kuhusu elimu and whether education is the only thing. Uliingiaje kwa muziki?
Muziki, I don't think we didn't have programs zile za kuonyesha huyu kijana unafanywa diagnosis, unaonekana wewe ndio unaweza kuwa rapper. We didn't have those kind of projects programs in our school. But tunajua in the neighborhoods what people don't know sometimes that people are looking for identity. People are looking for identity, people are looking for a place to belong. So other people get involved into crime, other people get into other stuff, other people get into sports. For us, for me, ilikuwa poa sana yani when I got myself involved in music, and the rest is history. But nilikuwa involved basically because I wanted to become somebody, and I wanted to be heard. But eventually, of course, we turned it into a business. It was a talent, and then it turned to we made it a skill, and then it turned into a business. And of course, it's even now more powerful because now it's a tool we use to communicate.
Kwa hivyo usanii ulizaliwa nayo si kuangukia.
Kusema kweli hatukuangukia, but also you have to work on it. Unajua, it's not it has taken me like 5 even more years yani work on it every day, because I found it is the only thing I was good at, so nikang'ara nayo excess. And of course later now through music I understand and interaction, I want to understand I was even good in other things. I was good in business, I can do some stuff, I can speak, and I like knowledge, so I search, I know a little bit more about some stuff, so it opened now, ilifungwa tu.
Na ulikuwa wa first kwa nini kwa uko fulani Maumau?
No. I was like the first group because the Kalamashaka was the initiator. Unajua ndio pioneers yani. And we forever remain grateful for that. Kalamashaka, but now I was the first, like in the first group of the first converts. First jeshi hao wengine walikuwa sasa siku hizi ni upcoming wanajidai sana za uko plan zino
when uko kwa original wase wengine sababu si uko Maumau ilikuwa wase mob ulikuwa wase kadhaa si ndio na ni aje hao wengine wako wapi wase mnakuanga pamoja walienda wapi sababu inaonekana ni kama tu Kalamashaka inajulikana alafu Juliani anajulikana. What about the rest of the guys wale mlikuwa nao?
Wako tu even everybody it got to a point yani that people had to grow, people had to move on, so it took more than being in a group. Hawezi kwa place mtoto hawezi shikwa hawa mama yake akiwa 30 years na tu unajua
ataambiwa hame
and utafute unga. So I think it got to a time where everybody felt like it's time to move on and to grow as a musician. So Geji wakaenda side yao, mimi nikaenda side yangu. Anitwaji Zaragiza, kulikuwa nadhani tu Zaragiza. And then mashifta pia wakaenda peke yao wakatoa projects. And I think so everybody went their own way to grow and to expand their territory, unajua.
And because na uko hebu tueleze tu kidogo tu kwa ina mtu anasema kwa kiufupi. Uko fulani Maumau ilikuwa ni mradi, ilikuwa ni initiative, ilikuwa ni group, was it funded? What is uko fulani Maumau?
It wasn't funded by anybody. It was just a group of people who found they had something in common and they shared it, unajua. And for once yani they didn't come in together because walikuwa na mashida peke yake, unajua. They came together because they shared something, they shared talent, they shared a way of thinking, and they shared a way of doing things, and young people who shun could get into crime and to get into things that were fashionable to do that time. So nashukuru sana Kalamashaka for doing that. So it wasn't funded by anybody, and that's why I still believe that youth groups can work and people can work together as long as they have something in common.
And is so the spirit of not Kalamashaka, of uko fulani Maumau, that spirit is still alive?
The spirit is still there. Young people are still looking for places to belong and identity. That's why they get into crime. That's why they're getting onto this, trying to find themselves. And that's what people don't want to listen sometimes. They don't want to hear. They think, oh, the problem is unemployment. The problem is not unemployment amongst the youth. The problem is that young people are looking for an identity. They're looking for a place to belong. And unfortunately, nobody's listening and nobody's giving them the chance. But also the problem with the young people is that they're waiting for somebody else to listen for them. They should be listening. They should go out and shout until somebody listens. You know? That's what we're trying to push.
Okay. I know that one of our participants, Elvis Mugeni.
Yes.
Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Juliani vipi? Mambo vipi?
Niaje Elvis?
Poa sana, uko fiti?
Nashukuru. Mbona sound yako ni poa hivyo? Hiyo kompi yako ni gani?
Mimi ni mbaya, mimi ni mbaya buda.
Kompi yake iko juu.
Tafuta nani umadvise, anaitwaje?
Mimi yule mbaya natumia MacBook jamani. So Juliani nikuulize, mbona uliamua kutoka uko fulani then ukaenda solo ama ni vile ulisevika yani ulipata God?
One of the most important decisions that I ever made in my life is getting born again, because finally I could understand why who I was and what God ana plan for me, unajua, and of course the ability and the possibility that I make ndani ya hati yangu, unajua. That's one of the most beautiful thing about salvation at that time. And of course uko fulani Maumau kuna kutoka na kuingia, because it was a family, it was more than a group, it was people who shared something. That was we shared a plate of rice together, unajua, kubwa na ni moto na lazima uwe mkali yani ndio ukule ushibe, otherwise wasata kunyorosha hapo, unaona. So it was hakuna kutoka, and it's unfortunate some of the things that happened after, and of course we are trying to revive some of your spirit now, what it represented.
alafu pia so vile ni do ilifanya ukaanza kudu gospel music juu unajua gospel music iko very lucrative, ama uliguzwa mahali hivi, uliguzwa na roho mtakatifu?
Buddha, when I started gospel music, there was no money, man. I got born again, and today there's still no money. What do you see, danganyo, Buddha? Ni jasho yako fanya in this country. Ati quills do. Ati sasa quills ndio kuna do sasa kila mtu ana. Nah, Buddha, it's. I got born again because of the influence nilikuwa nao kwa familia yangu na madhangu. Unajua baba yangu alikuwa so much. When I saw the difference that will make kwa mama yangu na baba yangu when they got born again years later, of course I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be part of a God who changes lives, not to just practice religion. Unajua, so then yani hata we didn't know anything about money. Huko flani we made money later. Right now 5 years or 7 years later is when we started making money, because we realized it's a business and you have to market, you have to package the product, you have to be aware of your demographic. Unajua hizo masters zote sasa we learned later. It's not because we are gospel. If anything, my music was different. It wasn't gospel. I tell you, kuna rushiwa mayo kwa churches, unajua. Yeah.
Sawa, nimeshukuru sana.
Ati ulikuwa unarushiwa mawe Buddha.
Man,
that's an interesting one.
Direct translation.
The direct translation. So you started off doing gospel music. So kuna kitu hapa hivyo kushikanisha hii kwangu. Kalama inaitwa nini? Uko fulani mama haikuwa gospel, alafu kasirika, si ndio? Alafu kaanza gospel. Would you still call your style of music? What is your style of music? It is gospel. What is it?
I got born again in 2005, and I didn't live uko fulani mamao. What it happens that I even took a year off trying to understand what I got myself into when I got born again. So it's but my music is it's easy. Yes, kuna time alienda kauliza watu wanasema nini about me, watu, and then the disciples wakasema, oh, watu wengine wanasema ni prophet, wengine wanasema when Messiah, wengine wanasema hivi. So my music is that way. So wengine wanaona ni gospel, wengine wanaona huyu jamaa anatu enjoy, mwingine anaona huyu jamaa ana make tudo. Kila mtu akona nini, but when the time comes yani and you listen to my words, it's always relevant at a particular time. Maybe you might not understand it right now, but you'll understand it later. Unaona? So that's what those are the kind of testimonials we get about my music, is that, oh, Buddha, sikuwa nasikia hii, sikuwa naelewa what you were talking about in this, but later now, years later, when I was listening to it, it came alive into my life, unajua, and that's, for me, that's priceless. No.
Thank you very much. Irene Mutile, I know that Irene Mutile had a question for Juliani in regard to his music and his work. Irene, please go ahead if you can hear me.
Niko hapa down 10 minutes namaliza na kama 10 minutes. Yeah. Yes, pole.
Budo unajua tunakusikia eh?
Oh.
Ujamute mic baba. Irene, please go ahead with your question, please, for Juliani.
Hi Juliani, how are you?
Sasa Irene.
Poa. So, you've sung with secular artists such as Juliani, Abbas. Like, has it brought you any problems or controversies since you're a gospel artist? And what has been the reactions of your fans since that time?
The people who understand my music, the people who understand my music know that pole nimegetika kasimu hapo ndo kama distract.
Pole.
The people who understand my music know what I represent and my mandate, and I always put my mandate clear from the word go. And my mandate is beyond the four corners of a church. My mandate is to reach out. So I can never prove enough that I'm a Christian. You can never prove that you're a Christian enough to people, but if they understand your mandate and as an artist, you know, yote itakuwa explained later yani, but I can never prove myself and what I represent as a musician.
Okay, thank you very much. Modesta Ndubi, you had a question for Juliani?
Sasa Juliani.
Sasa.
Poa. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm one of your fans. So you talked about your music. Yes, I'm happy. So you talked about your music. Ukasema watu wana understand maybe later on ndio watazi understand nika parables. Si ndio? Hivyo ndio unasemanga your music is like nika parables. They don't address God directly. So nataka kuzaa nini yuko ina inspire music yako other than the fact that when umesema you grew up in D, life yako in Dandora ili affect music yako, nini ingine yuko ime inspire music yako maybe other than your life in Dandora?
It's more than my life in Dandora. It's family, it's my faith, unaona. It's the knowledge that I acquire every day in my interaction with people, unajua, and my twisted opinion. No, it's a mixture of everything, unajua. So, but my faith plays a big part yani when it comes to how I relate to how I write my music, because I think everything, the secrets of God yani, the secrets of life are somewhere to be exhumed treasures, unajua. So it's up to us as human beings to find out those treasures that God ameweka for us, and then of course use them. So that's my hiyo ndio lengo langu katika muziki na in my life. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Modesta. Eunice, are you there? I know you had a question for Juliani as well.
Yes, I do. Juliani.
Please go ahead with your question, Eunice.
Hi, Juliani.
Hey.
You've won many accolades because of your music. Can you tell us more about these awards?
First of all, I cannot mention them.
Tell us. Unasema ati ni ngoma tu nacheza. Boss, you even have awards. What are these awards? Tell us what the awards are.
We have awards. Line like it. Anyway, but there's nothing so beautiful as seeing people enjoy what you do and appreciate what you do. There's nothing as priceless as seeing people enjoy what you do. No. So, and especially now the route that Minili chose to take, yani, it wasn't favorable to any musician to take that route. But it was art and it's music, unajua, and it's the way you present it, the truth. So nimeshinda a couple of awards. I've been the first artist to win $1 million shillings when it comes to, of course, awards. I was appointed some few poverty eradication ambassador, one campaign Kenyan ambassador. So kuna vitu mbili tatu zile zina nini, but the most important that niko na album mbili Buddha, unaona, and working on the third one yani. So those, tunani make proud sana. The awards will come and go, but the music, as long as it remains true and it remains imetoka kwa heart ya God yani always, that's the most important.
And I think it's good ume mentioned that the important thing for you is the music. Sasa hapa hivyo kuna kizungu ingine bunga wacha saidi some pole pole, because I think even if the awards are not an important component of your work, I think that there has been a lot of recognition. A lot of recognition for the work. I see that our friend Patrick Gadara has actually joined in on the conversation, and we're going to get to his question in a minute, because it also ties in na ile swali nataka kuuliza. You know Eric Wainaina?
Hey, bana, nani hajui Eric Wainaina?
Nani hajui Eric Wainaina? He's one of the big legends and in music in this country. And when Eric was talking about you, Juliani, alisema that Juliani possesses an unmatched socio-political intelligence, beautifully tempered in spirituality. Juliani comes correct with an infectious message of religious, social, and political emancipation, fresh and relevant in today's society.
Hey!
Hujawahi sikia hiyo?
Nimesikia but pengine umeisoma vizuri na ina sound poa.
and it goes in line with the question that Patrick Adara has put here on the Hangout. One is the question of which for you is your most successful track. What is the song that ile unasikiani tu hiyo song ulikuwa umebambika vizuri sana? And also goes tutauliza inafuatana hili swali Gadara ameuliza venye nauliza what do you see as the role of music in the struggle for democracy?
First of all, my biggest song was Utawala, unajua. Everywhere I go, yani that's the only song of at least the chorus. Verses zinavuka wase kidogo, but the Utawala is my biggest song. But as far as ile song ilinibamba sana yani. Each and every one of my songs yani huwa ni relevant kwangu na huwa ina uzito because I took time to work on them, unajua. And it has some treasures that if somebody bothers to listen sometimes that they'll but as far as the role of music, the music has been powerful since back then yani. The music is powerful in faith, the music in the struggle to whatever you are struggling for, unajua. The music is that powerful yani, is that powerful tool. And also the music is there to document what's happening and other people's opinion and other people's way of doing things, unajua. I can know what's happening in Dandora by what they sing. I can know about what's happening in the country by what it's saying. But also music is powerful in a way that it can shape the mentality and it can create a mood of a country. That's how important musicians are, unaona. So until we musicians understand the role that we play, itakuwa tu nikaa maji ya mtaro, itakuwa inavukwa tu, unajua. But specifically in democracy, music is the only tool that iko na inaitwaje poetic justice. Through music you can say anything and people will say, oh, he's just being a musician. The only question you should ask ourselves is do people take heed of what they like, you know? I mean, what they consume from the musicians? Do they can they use that as a tool to speak their mind and to engage? So you understand tunafaa kuuliza, but the role of music yani is unquestionable.
And so umeongea kuhusu that mtu akisikia ngoma fulani kuna ile pengine message ambayo they take away from that particular song. Tuseme wimbo kama Utawala and some of the music that you're producing that is actually music promoting social justice and social consciousness. What are the biggest challenges for you? Ukitoa ngoma kama hiyo, ngoma kama Utawala, yeah, when you are addressing issues, Utawala is dealing with corruption, it's dealing with leadership, it's dealing with impunity, na deal na vitu mob sana. What are the challenges facing you as a musician that when you do that kind of music? Are there any challenges to it?
But when you do music, what we're doing, people think that it's our opinion. It's not our opinion. Before you do any music, you do a research. You listen to people. Unajua? So when I come up na song ka Utawala, people think it's my opinion. It's not my opinion. The only difference is that naiweka poetically na naja kuichonga so that it can be, it's consumable to as many people as possible. But it's the same conversation that we have in our neighborhoods. Tukisoma wakiatu, tukisoma gazeti, tukiwa tunakula sapa jioni, tukiwa based. These are the same conversation that we have. The only difference is that maybe I've packaged it and I've put it in a place, I mean in a mainstream platform. Unaona? That's the difference. But the most recently, of course, Sharia. And one thing about Sharia is that immediately I got phone calls yani watu wanasema worried about me yani unajua said Juliani utakujiwa Buddha utakujiwa, you will be comfortable.
Yes, you will be comfortable. Does that worry you? Does it worry you when unaona mpaka wasee wanaona ni kama wewe utakujio, si ndio? Does it worry you? Does it make you anxious? Do you have to take more security around you? How does unatilaje na hiyo story?
Buda, hata ukiwa unafly na ndege utakujiwa. Ikiwa Malaysia ni nili lost. Buda, who do you think you are? You can't get lost if they want to lost you.
I am unbogable.
If they want to lost you, you'll be lost, Buddha. You know? So let's not get it twisted, yani. So you can never be safe enough. You can never be safe enough. But what people need to understand is that I'm not speaking things that it's not my opinion. I like listening from people, and whatever people say, I just document it. I just document it through lyrics and through poetry. But hawezi ogopa you, and you'll never be safe enough. Hawezi sema tiesi tembeangi usiku sasa ndakujiwo. Hawezi sema tiesi kunywa chai kwa mkahawa because nitaekewa sumu. You cannot. And I don't think I'm that important for now. Unajua? Because even if I don't do it, somebody else will do it in a different form.
I know that there's a couple of people that we are expecting that are joining in. Jared on Twitter, thank you for joining us on this conversation. I've seen Patrick Adara, who also has another question for Juliani. I think Juliani, ile kitu nataka kukuuliza also ni kukuulizaje, when you said that you're listening to your music ni kama umechukua issues za watu umeziweka pale kwa microphone, si ndio? Alafu sasa unasambaza what people are saying and what people are feeling. What do you think are what are the citizen responsibilities around that?
One of the things that citizens think, they always think that they think they have tomorrow. First of all, they think it only happened to other people, and then the citizen think that as long as I'm a hustle, yani wako poa, unajua. And it's the same as even me as a musician. Is that it doesn't matter how good you are as a musician, if the structure is not there for you to be for your efforts to bring forth fruit, or for your efforts to be appreciated. It doesn't matter how much effort you put. So for any citizen right now, if you see somebody else's house burning, you think yours won't burn. It's only a matter of time, Buddha. If unaona mse mwingine ameenda karukiwa fence, unadhani yako fence yako ni refu kuliko kila mtu mwingine, utakujiwa, Buddha, because as long as it happens to somebody else, it will always happen to you. But the citizens needs to be informed about what's happening, and the citizen needs to be organized enough, of course, to push even for their agenda, because nobody's talking on the behalf of their agenda. Nobody's talking on behalf of the citizens' agenda. Unless maybe platforms like this one. And even actually the government or whoever is concerned is not even afraid of the citizens, because wanajua ikifika kesho wasara rudi hustle juu njaa itauma, unajua. So nobody's afraid of they can make promises and they don't do anything about it. So the citizen needs to be informed and needs to be organized enough to get things done, and that doesn't mean that you're against the government.
It does not mean. No, it doesn't mean that you're against. Alafu sasa, okay, umesema kuhusu kuorganize wase, si ndio? I think Irene or Irene Mutile or Modesta, one of them talked about your collaboration with Juliani and those kinds of other people. Unaonaje kama ma artists, tuseme sasa wewe you're in music, there are people that are cartoonists, there are people that are animators, there are people, how unaonaje role ya hao watu in terms ya organize citizens ama kuchangamsha wasee ndio wasee waanze to stand up not only for their rights but to also take their citizen responsibilities on?
I think
sasa you organize unaweza organize aje? What can you talk about to us about that organizing?
What the music does is it inspires people to start something, but now we need organizers, we need people who have what music and art inafanya ni ku inspire and to expose some things that other people are going through. and doesn't necessarily mean bad things. Sometimes it's good things. You can expose good things and share good things, share humor, unajua, share easy fun. It doesn't have to be hey, watu wanaumia kila time, unajua. So the musicians are there and artists are there to inspire and to get people from one point to the next. But there needs to be somebody else who will take from that to, after people are inspired, what are the measures do we have to take it from there to now to Canaan on whoever we want to go as citizens. But collaboration is necessary for anybody. If I see some a cartoonist want to do something about my music, if I want to use a cartoonist to do something through my music, I'll do it because it's necessary for us. Because even the cartoonist or even me, we are not getting the best out of our time and out of our efforts in this country. We know the capability that we have in this country. We know, of course, what we can achieve if we work together as citizens, You can never expect less from the politicians. Nikaa unaenda place unaona nguruwe kichafuka kwa matope, and then all of a sudden uko surprise, mbona nguruwe inachafuka kwani nguruwe? It's supposed to do that, man.
That's what a pig does.
You're supposed to be politicking if you're politicians, so you don't expect anything better from them. You should expect leadership. The only thing you expect is leadership and to take our country forward.
Na umeongelea kuhusu, and it is very interesting kwamba you're inspiring, so you're doing the music and the work of artists, whether it's mtu kama wewe, you're doing music, the people that are doing sports, the people that are doing other forms of art, that your work is to inspire, and that the next level of that is going into social organizing and movement building. Sasa kuna mzee anaitwa Jared on Twitter. Jared, thank you so much for joining us. And Jared has a question for you, Juliani, on the same line hiyo ya social movement. Anaulizaje, unaona uhusiano wa your music and the inspiration that you're giving people. How do you see the link kati ya hiyo muziki yako and social movement, building a social movement for Wanjiko on issues that are affecting Wanjiko on a daily basis? Na si ule Wanjiko atiwa nini, unajua Wanjiko ule naongelea kuhusu. Right? So how do you see, is there any connection? Unaonaje, unawezaje link huu muziki wako and the issues and building a movement for Wanjiko?
Unajua, building a movement, that's what we're trying to do. What a musician is blessed with is a network and a fan base. So one of the things that I appreciate is that I have a loyal and of course committed fan base across the country. So how do we use that for them to even because it's not about me, because always the leadership, all the people that they think can speak for them. It's good, we can do that, but it has to come from you. Because next time ingekuwa ni kama Boniface Mwangi, ukianza kutoka huko kwa street watasema jamani nimetoka huko kwa street. Unaona? Juliana lilipo ongekuhusu utawala.
Okay, Juliani, please hold on for a minute. Arnold, we have a new person that has joined our conversation. Arnold, if you could please mute your microphone. Arnold, I think we've lost Arnold. Pole, we tulininio. Aliingia baadaye ikakuwa na makelele mob sana, hata tukusikia nini ulikuwa unasema. But ulikuwa unasema there's a movement, lakini Wanjiko mwenyewe lazima pia yajisimamishe ama.
Yeah, because that happens in the neighborhoods. In the neighborhoods, if there is kuna insecurity mob sana kwa neighborhood, normally what happens and what we saw is that the neighbors come together, kwanza wanaanza get refu ya mbao, and then wana have meetings, unajua, and then wengine hata sangine wana have their security meetings, wanachagua chairman when you're threatened, unaona, when your future is threatened, unaona. So sometimes maybe we need to do that, maybe the citizens themselves need to do that, but our work is to just inspire and to show you the best way of going about it, unaona, because maybe you're better off informed, unaona. But as far as being we have few projects in the Mtaa, for example, Mtaa Challenge. We are organizing and mobilizing young people to, of course, start their own businesses and to invest in those businesses. So we are meeting young people at the point of their need, but the most important is listening. We listen. Wengine wanataka kusikiza, wanadhani wanajua sana kuliko watu wengine, unajua. So sometimes we need to listen as leaders. We need to listen to the people who, of course, who we connect to.
Wase mazee, kuna wase wengine wako na nini, they are following us on YouTube. They are watching this off of YouTube because the Hangout itself iwezi chukua wase wengi, lakini kuna msee mmoja anaitwa, wacha niangalie jina lake hapa hivi kidogo, anaitwa Amikawo. I think that is a lady na nimesema ati ni jamaa. But the question ile ameuliza off of YouTube, anauliza what kind of an artist would you rate yourself now, given where you started? Najua tulikuwa tumeongelea kuhusu your background in terms of how you've grown in music, but where would you see yourself now?
Ati nijipe masifa sasa, ati venye mimi ni mtu.
Si tujipe sifa, ni unajua sasa, unajua si ulianza, unataka hebu ngoja hold on kidogo nionyeshe wase, unajua wase hawajui kitu. Hebu ngoja, I don't know if, I hope that people can actually see this. There might be people who have never seen Juliani akiwa na kipara. Is it the, hapana, sio hiyo. Ngoja kidogo. Pia mimi ni haya. Ngoja. Can you see it? Can you see it? Na mimi nikuuliza kutoka hiyo time do hivi nywele yako watu wasio waone. So how would you rate yourself kutoka hiyo time mpaka saa hii? How would you rate your music now?
The only person that is not happy of my movement and moving forward is my kinyozi, unajua. Kinyozi ndiye afurahi mambo yangu sana, but at least alumi sana afurahi, unajua, because yo wachiwa manoti hapo akitengeneza dread. But of course, as a musician, I've grown excess, yani. I've been exposed to a lot of things. I've met people that I never thought I would meet. I've traveled, you know, just by being a poet, you know, by talking, by speaking, by writing music, you know. So sometimes I even think nikamu konwase, you know. Because what I say, sometimes they take it as the truth, you know. So for me to get that is priceless, you know. And then also that's nashukuru Mungu for that opportunity. But of course, I'm not even some of the things that I'm going through right now as a musician, I'm not surprised, because those are the 5 years ago, those are the kind of promises that Mungu alikuwa ameniwekea kwa life yangu, unajua. When I was praying to him, yani, those are the promises that he gave me as a musician. So right now I'm just realizing most of those promises, you know.
Okay. Na nikuuliza, we also have a couple of people that have joined us on the Hangout. We had Desmond Maderi. I think Desmond is still there. We have Arnold Young. We have Jared Ontita. We have Patrick Kadara. If any one of you guys has a question, kindly put it on the right-hand side, the group chat. If you're unable to ask your question directly to Juliani, please feel free to put your questions on the side of your screen. But we have a question actually from Peteron. Thank you very much for the question. Swali ni, unajionaje yani kuhusisha wasee wengine in terms of building a movement, on your social movement? Kama sisi.
No, one of the things that getting other musicians to join the movement is I'm more of a structured person. I like structure, because with structure you can anticipate the results, and you can also, of course, know where you're going. For me, hype, everybody now is everybody's talking about things and some sequences is what unajua. I don't do that. I do structures and I believe in structures. So what I'm doing today, we have started a company called RBG Live. Of course, to support musicians, young musicians, and of course to give them a platform to make a living first of all, and of course to give them a voice and a place to belong. And also we have RBG Republic. You know, just to get as good. Huyu jamaa na kati ya manzi na kwa hapa. Thank you mzee.
Wewe that is Peter Ron ndio amekuuliza hilo swali la nini? Ndio ameuliza hiyo swali ya bringing other artists.
Na hata sikii cheki.
Anaitwa Peter Ron. Peter, wave to Juliani please. So that but
no, so we are building structures. We are building structures to where Peter unaongea na mrembo na niko hapa cheki umse Buddha amezima nini. You're putting structures of course to make sure that because one of the things that I realized now koflani mamao, of course we were talented, of course we have all it took and we have the message with us, but one of the things we lacked is an acumen in business acumen and how to do business and how to see results and our time to be worthwhile. So that's what I've been trying to build for a while now. So thank God that inaanza to take fruit. So it only take a few months whatever to realize that. Yeah, but tuko sawa.
Okay. There's still maswali zinakuja zimefuatana. Not actually from the people that are interacting with your conversation, and I know that kuna mahali ulikuwa unataka kwenda, kwa hivyo najaribu kuharakisha hizi maswali.
Nimekansel hiyo meeting. Dada alinipigia saa zile amejam na ni mkurugenzi bana, mmoja nimemwangusha, yani ninafaa kumit saa nyingine. So mtalipa hiyo nini mtalipa hiyo?
Nini tutalipa?
Hiyo ni ngata na nini
hiyo tutaorganize. Kuna wasee mob sana.
The revolution must be
ni kusema kwamba now we have time tukae down zaidi to hang out tu, si ndio?
Tuongea Buddha as long as kasadia hapa maji na kama unajua.
Okay, na kachai katurungi na skari vijiko 3, si ndio?
Bana.
Aya, basi hiyo tutaorganize tu sai. One of the questions that is coming up that Patrick Gadara has posted here, na ili swali is still to do with your musical background, you know, in terms of who has influenced you in your music. Na saa zingine kuna time unasema unaongea kuhusu muziki alafu time zingine unaongea kuhusu poetry. What tofauti kwako, kuna tofauti, or you just see yourself as a voice for the people?
I'm not a moja hiyo ni sifa tumepewa tu, but I'm not a voice. I just speak what the people are speaking. Unajua, I'm not representing. People can say I'm representing a constituency. Yeah, I do. But it's a day to day. If everybody's right now start saying that the country is good and wanaishi poa na wanaenda kani kila siku kujivinjari, I'll talk about that because that's what the people are going through. And of course, and if God amesema yani alicancel, alisamehea devil, akakam yani devil akam heaven, yani kuko na constitution review ya wasee wa coexist hell na heaven. No, if that happens, I'll speak about that and I'll have my opinion about that. So but mandate yangu specifically, and it comes from Isaiah 58, people can go and read. But it's to be first of all to be the best that God ameka kwa hati yangu, unaona. And of course to share the message that na feel every day anaweka kwa hati yangu. That's my mandate as per now, yani unajua. Yeah.
Alafu so kwako when we go back, you know, what part of what anaitwa nani Patrick Gadara is asking, ukijiona and when you think of ile siku tulikuwa tunaenda Bomas makwaya huko, kuna waseka kina kaka Kilonzo, and you know they had these specific songs. Unajua ukikaa tu hivi usikie Kenya ni nchi si umalize, unajua The Muungano Choir, Tawala Kenya, you know those songs, eh? Do you see like your music will also live that long, or ita inspire watu hivyo as you go into the future? Ukifikiria wimbo kaa Unbogable, Gidigidi Maji Maji, Unbogable hata ikichezwa saa hii wasee ndio wao wanasimama, si ndio? So how do you see your music as contributing to the Kenyan contributing, number one, in the social justice sphere, alafu in terms of contributing to the music sector in Kenya in general?
Umejua music ni kama love, eh? Or ni kama mapenzi. It can only be powerful when somebody else activated. Unaona? You get? So mimi naweza kuwa nakupenda na roho yangu yote, but kama uone kama if you don't activate it, if you don't receive that love, it doesn't make as much difference as it would when you receive. Unaona? So the only thing I can do is share what I have in my heart and what I see. Unaona? And the best way I see it can be effective. Unaona? And then it takes the other person on the other end to activate it, because I've been here for a while, and every time I did music, it go to a demographic, it capture to that demographic until I go to Utawala, where Utawala, when ukisikia Utawala, Buddha everywhere, from the kids to the old and to the everybody's listening. It was activated by somebody, unaona? It wasn't because I was just such a good artist, yani ati mimi ni mambo bad peke yake, but it was because it resonated with people's hearts and people's hearts and people's whatever they're going through at that particular time, and then how they activated it and it became something out of it. So music, you can never say that unaona ukienda hivi, you can just say you can do your best and try to communicate and certainty. Now when it resonates with people, then they'll make it that powerful. At that particular time ya Tawala Kenya na kila kitu, we were in a period of on our history where we needed to hear such songs. Unajua, we needed to hear things to show us that we are pamoja, because that time is when ukabila ilikuwa na come, that your time the Moi alikuwa na run things, unajua. So you have to question also the source why those songs were there, because me niko naona every bombers of Kenya ilikuwa ni Moi ni mpoa kuliko kila mtu, unaona. Nobody was talking about huwezi enda kuimba sijui wimbo gani mbele ya president na this president, unaona. You can never do that. So you also have to question where the source of those songs, where did they come from, unaona. What is the background of why people sang Tawala Kenya at this particular time? The reason how Tawala and Fadashiria was it resonates na watu wengi, because that's what Kenyans are going through and that's what they talk about in the day-to-day lives, unaona. So that's why ilikuwa fast sana. Ingekuwa kila mtu siku hizi akopoa, kila mtu akona gari yake, ako comfortable kwa traffic, if you came up with a song like that, everybody will be pissed off and everybody will be like, oh, because even there's a time Easter was around, and Easter when alikuwa around, the whole idea ya kani na kila wasi walikuwa wanatoka kani, tuende kani tujivinjari, everybody was talking about that, because young Kenyans finally found a place to go. Ama wait, wasi walikuwa wana dancing tu kwa mazile mabasi za matanga kwa kijiji, sasa wame get opportunity ya kwenda kani, so they do that, unaona. We didn't know South Sea, now we know South Sea through music. You know Dandora.
Yes.
So music can only capture what's going on at that. Asante kwa chai.
Si nilikwambia chai itakama.
It's not good. Sasa niko na chai na maji. Sasa nichukue gani?
Kunywa kachai. Unajua hiyo chai kwanza iko na sukari mingi sana. It will give you some energy. But maswali, we are getting questions, Juliani. We are getting questions from different spaces. We are getting questions of our Twitter handle, which is at Maskani254. We are getting questions from our YouTube channel, where there is quite a big group of people that are following this conversation. We are also getting questions from some of the people that are participating, Jared, Peter, Gadara, and other people that are online right now that are continuing to ask questions. Kwa hivyo saa zingine tutakuwa tuna move from this topic to another topic to another topic. I hope uta keep up. Najua ni kijana, you will be able to keep up. But there's a question that is also talking about what has influenced your music. But this person, Peter Wawero, has asked this question off of YouTube, or following on our YouTube channel, and he has asked, who has been your influence in the Christian hip hop scene, internationally or otherwise?
In the Christian, the reason why we got born again, when we got born again, yani, we didn't have the kind of songs to relate to, you know, because everybody was talking about, Mungu ni mwema, tunamshukuru kwa ametutendea mema. Mimi sijui mema gani ametutendea buda. Mimi sitendei mema place niko, unajua mimi huwezi niambia. So those are the kind of songs that we get in the Christian circles. And of course, fresh out of planning mau mimi si understand hii kitu, unajua? So kusema kweli mimi nilibaki tu na akina Jemima Mateo, yani tunajienjoy nao, nilikuwa na sikiza tu kwa hao, yani if this is the gospel then sisi wote tuombe. No, but my influence yani imekuwa, unfortunately haikuwa from the Christian circle. I listen more of Eminem, a lot of Jay-Z, a lot of Nas, and a lot of Biggie Smalls, unajua, as a musician, as a rapper. But now later, instead of listening to music, I went more into what do you call it? Into now reading more. You know? I read more. I listened more. I questioned, because the kind of gospel that we had wasn't questioning God. Unaona, wasn't questioning, Mungu mbona tunaumia, mbona wala uko na baiskeli, si hatuna baiskeli, kwani baba yangu alifanya nini? Those are the questions we needed to ask when we got born again. So that even if happened even in my Christian faith, that when I got born again, immediately I started asking God questions. Unaona, and also questioning, unapenda straw za kuvua na bra, mbona ukishadu una feel guilty, unajua, we started asking that questions, unajua, that normally in a Christian circle nobody would have asked those questions, unaona.
Yes.
Mmeshtuka nini, kuna under 18 hapa?
Azia kuna under 18. No, I'm listening to you. Alafu nakwambia maswali zimekam. One of the questions, and I think we really talked about the music, and I really appreciate you know the way that you're able to answer these questions and to deal with some of the issues that are coming up. Let's talk a little kuhusu mambo kama fuata sheria, utawala. Kuna kitu umesema hapo mbeleni, umesema that the music, the context, the era in which you're living in can also influence the music, si ndio? Kwa hivyo sasa hii mambo ya fuata sheria umeongea kuhusu Isa, hiyo time ilikuwa ni wasee wende kani wajivinjari nini, and now we are in a different era, right? And there are two questions around the time that we are living in that have come up. The first question that has come up is from an organization. This is from somebody tweeting from our Twitter handle, which is at Maskani254, and they have asked, what would you say, or what is your opinion, or what is your take about the victims of post-election violence, specifically the victims of sexual gender-based violence, who have been forgotten, and who, you know, there seems like there is nothing has been done to you know, to apprehend them and to arraign them in court. And it also links na swali lingine limeulizwa also kutoka kwa Twitter by mtu anajiita an angry jubilant. Anauliza, what do you think about either the failure of the government to listen to the majority?
Usually ni heavy,
Nakwambia, lakini sikachai kalikam buda.
Ilikam hata tulisip kwanza yani.
But sip kachai ukifikiria hiyo swali.
But as I said before, when you see something happen to some other people, you think it only happened to them, and it will never get to happen to you. You know, and that's what every Kenyan right now anakosa. And I think when mafuta iliisha ile siku na ilikuwa expensive, everybody's affected. You know, when the economy, when there's an attack, ugaidi place, everybody's affected, because business goes down, the shilling in a drop, everything changes. You know, so your problem is not your problem, Buddha. So one of the problems that we have right now is that people think just because it happened to other people from other parts of the country, it can never happen to them. So that's why people are so relaxed to and people are so, and we're not telling people to go to parliament na kurusha mawe. We are telling people, Buddha, ask question and come together and do something about it, you know, and hold whoever needs to be held accountable. Otherwise, sooner or later it will come to you. It will come to me sooner or later, you know. So how safe are you? No. How safe are you? Who do you think you are, Buddha? Malaysia in lost, Buddha. Who do you think you are? Plainly.
Kuna vile pia unaweza potea if you do not stand up for something and stand up for everybody.
We all lose, you know. So imagine the victims and nobody ever thought about them, you know. It's unfortunate sana because wasokienda huko mliniona na mkate na maziwa as if that's what everybody wants, you know. The heart and the effect of what they went through, yani, it's yani in excess, and you can never the best they can do is to see somebody who is responsible take responsibility and something is done about it, you know. So that's what we're talking about our country, about people for the Sharia. And also when you come back to the citizens, and I told you earlier that the citizens themselves, they think wakiona mtu ameshikwa na Kimunya venye alishikwa juzi, everybody like huyo Kimunya hajui kuchora hizi vitu, mimi ningekuwa mimi singefanya hivi. Unajua the Kenyans themselves, it's fashionable, or when somebody is caught because of doing something wrong, they think they were caught because they were not good at it. So so they celebrate. You can only see people through your eyes. So why point fingers to the political elite, and yet you yourself, yani, unaona politician akiwa venye mlikuwa mnagonganisha magari hapo, wasome wamejaa wanashika javelin, and then wasona kufa and you don't speak about it, unaona. There's a day nilikuwa na hapo hivyo junction, just to pick story kidogo, hapo junction hiyo roundabout, and then nakamivi nikana kamtao, and then kwenda hivi juu Dagoretti Karen imejaa, si ndio? Then of course I'm coming down and I see a matatu kama mbili zinakaa my way, unajua. So mimi na ufuata sheria yangu na jidai venye Mkenya halisi, nikaenda nikapaka mbele yake, nikamwambia nikazusha hino nini, nikatoka kwanza na mahype hapo, and then abiria wala kwa hapo ndani wako like unapiga kelele nini hizo. Ngana maramba. Abiria wako hapo hivyo ndani. Abiria wako hapo hivyo ndani, and then they're looking at me at wewe uko na gari hapo, unatuambia nini na utafika haraka na uko na gari. Unaona, now they're thinking I'm the problem, and yet they are the ones who are the problem. Sai gari ndianguka umiza msee. They are the ones to blame because they didn't stand up, because hawako na haraka kwenda kufika place. Unaona, so as much as we want to blame the political elite, I think the problem is with the citizens. The citizens don't even know what they want. They think they can survive. They think they'll make it through. Buddha, until your son or your daughter is affected and you cannot get health care, hapo ndo utajua kumbe ni kubaya. Until your brother and your uncle are killed, sababu alikuwa anatembea Dandora na alikuwa na dread akashutiwa hata na suspectia Mungiki, then you'll feel it, Buddha. Unaona? So some of us don't think we'll ever be affected by this, but until upatikane. Nimezusha sana hizo.
Peter Ron, thank you. I was actually going to ask you, Peter, if you have a question that you would like to ask on the microphone to Juliani. I think, but you have asked a good question. On a scale of 1 to 10, Peter Ron anauliza, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate our current leaders? Na kwa nini? I think 1 being low, 10 being very good.
Listen, so what I do know kweli, Buddha. The problem is not the leadership. The problem is not the leadership. Water can only take the shape of the vessel you put it in. Unaona? Umeka chai kwa hii vessel itakuwa hii shape ya hii. Utaweka chai hapa ita take shape ya hii. So don't tell me the problem is the leadership. The problem is that you voted people in and then 100 days. Hiyo pia, unaona? Same as this one, but shape of what the vessel that is put in. No. So why tell me, say when you're political, whatever, don't need a promise. Ask them that question. When money is not there, ask them that question. No. Or do something about it. Organize. Find a way yourself to be heard at least. So the problem might be, of course, everything starts and start with leadership, but it's just a reflection of who we are. That kind of leadership. And I don't expect actually a lot from the leadership. What I expect is that the citizens to do something about what's happening, because they are the ones who feel the pinch. Ukiwa na portal, atakuwa na 4x4. Unaona? Ukiwa na shida ya elimu na strike, ase wako bribe and buda. Unaona? When kuna njaa, kila mtu anakula mahindi ya yellow. Buda.
So kwa hivyo kwako unaona and pengine utaongelea kuhusu, kwa hivyo kwako shida sana si leaders, shida ni Wakenya wenyewe kwanza. Tuanzie hapo. Ndio nasema. Wakenya.
We think we are ama tumezoea shida sana mpaka tumind.
Ati ulisemaje kwa fuata sheria? Hata kukua kubaya hatunini.
Nimesahau buda.
Lazima nitafute sasa. Unawezaje sahau lyrics za song yako? But what you're saying to us is that the issue is not the leadership necessarily. Sisi wenyewe as the Kenyans, sisi kwanza tukiamshe, we hold ourselves accountable kabla we start holding our leaders accountable. Ama when we hold ourselves accountable, wale leaders tutaget pia watakuwa poa.
Nobody will be poor until the citizens choose to do something about what's happening. The citizens are the ones, they are complacent. They think their job iko poa. Sahi kama Peter sahi akondeona anaongea na mrembo hapo, unajua anadhani kazi yake iko secure. Unaona? Until budo patikane, hauna bahati, unajua you're not secure man. Sahi ukitaka kujua vitu ni mbaya, wacha kuwa na emergency sahi that your grandmother, your mother is affected somewhere right now. Wewe utapigiwa simu kama usaidie, unajua? You don't have even NSSF by the time kupatia doyo inakawia, unajua? So we think we are complacent. We think it will all be right. Unajua? We hope for the future. For the flowers and the sun to be bright. Unajua? We wait for all that day, Buddha, but nothing is. For things to happen in us, it must be done. Unajua?
So as we are talking about waiting for the future, mazee kuna mtu hapa hivyo wishing you a very good future. Amesema God bless you Juliani for the work you're doing. You are a real frontliner impacting 6 sectors for real. Anaitwa Karonganga.
Finally kuna mrembo bana. Naona tu machali hapa.
Kuna mwingine hapa hivyo anaitwa Diana Manyama. Diana Manyama anaulizaje utaperform Germany siku gani? Germany.
Kuna baridi huko saizi ndio ama?
Saizi kuna jeve iko mob ni aje.
Sawa, hata kuiisha alafu tuongee story.
There's also a question from our Twitter handle, and I'm also going to be exploring a question that has come up from Patrick Adara on our Twitter handle at Rehab Njoki, who is keenly following us. Anaulizaje, unadhani mbona maartist wengine hata wa gospel hawaulizi haya maswali tunakuuliza?
It's not for everybody, Buddha. It's not for everybody. When you're building a house, there are the people who lays the foundation. Kuna wale wanabeba mawe, kuna wale wanajua kuoperate machine, kuna wale wanajua kuweka plaster, kuna wale wanajua kufanya interior design, unajua? So we can never blame, because sometimes we tell artists, mbona ufanye hivi, and then blame other. No. Maybe it's not their cup of tea. Maybe they have something else that they need to address. Maybe wanataka kazi yao ni kufikisha watu mbinguni, mimi ni kuonesha watu venye watafanya kazi hii duniani. Unajua, everybody has and they have to do something.
Everybody. And the question also is looking at the questions that you're asking. saa zile unauliza swali, unajua uliza ati where is Kidero when I need to slap somebody. How the other artists are not asking questions like that. And how do you motivate them?
Unaingiza tu hapa yani.
Kuna zingine kali kuliko hizo naweza ingiza kwa hizo story, lakini sitaingiza hizo.
Okay.
So kwa nini even the gospel ones hao wanataka kupeleka watu mbinguni, hawaulizi haya maswali? Kwa nini? Kwako ukiongea nao, mkihang out, why are they not asking these questions?
Because the people are different mandates, unajua. That's why I'm saying everybody has different mandate. Everybody has something to do. So if you feel that's what you need to do and that's your calling, you go and do it. And the reason why, of course, when we are writing such stuff, sometimes it just looks in a sound poor as a lyrics. You know, sometimes it's not really trying to ruffle feathers or whatever. It's just in a sound poor as an entry. Unaona pia ni ndangiaji kwa hii ngoma ni kali, ndangiaji yani ni nishtua sasa unarukana. But we tend to forget some things. Kama sai Westgate happened, we forgot about that.
Yes.
Waswali lipuka huko juzi, we forgot about that. We forgot about the victims that were affected. We forgot about we keep forgetting, unajua. Until it happened. So sometimes the good thing about music, it will always remind you when you play it. That's what you'll always listen to, and that's what will always in a gwara your conscious yani until it's the day you decide to do something about it.
Kuna swali lingine limeulizwa, but I think I'll save that as we're coming to the end. Lakini kuna Patrick Adara ameuliza swali lingine, a very interesting question. Anaulizaje, how do you think religion is affecting your religion affects your politics? Alafu kuna hizi story sasa, umesikia story ya miniskirts? Sijui ni nani alikuwa anasema ati watu watakuvaa miniskirts. Ulisikia hiyo story?
Usikia tu.
Well, usikia tu. There's a story like that going on. He's asking, what do you think of when people are trying to impose some of these religious, cultural, traditional values on the society? You know, issues around women, issues about the LGBTI community, miniskirts, sijui nini. What's your view or worldview around some of these things and the spaces, especially of the kind of music that you're doing? How do you respond to some of these issues?
Truth of the matter, the traditional way of doing things, they gave their values and the direction of the community was given to elders. So, and in our society, we left it to our religious leaders. So we gave them that. We have the executive, we have the judiciary, we have the whatever, the parliament, and also we have our religious leaders. And in every institution, before one's lazima pray, lazima ufanye either Muslim or whatever. So let's not disregard what the religious whatever is doing, because there are compass when it comes to value system, because our country, one of the biggest things that we lack is value system. We lack value system, Buddha. So sometimes there's nothing we can say that mimi sikuange ongo, mimi Mkenya. We should have something like that. Unajua mimi Mkenya, I don't do this. We should have that kind of talk nowadays. Well, unavuka barabara. Huyu jamaa ana overlap si Mkenya, because wa Kenya overlapping. So if the value system is what the religious leaders, we gave them that responsibility to hold that.
But is the value system, the religious value system or the cultural value system, what if it's ni ya kuweka watu down, ni ya kuweka watu chini? So it's not progressing at the same rate na ile watu wana progress and social development na vitu kama hizo.
Kenyans, people are not progressing. They're not going anywhere, Buddha. In marathon ya statue, nobody's going anywhere. There's no progress.
At marathon ya statue.
There's no progress, Buddha. Let's not lie to ourselves, Buddha. Doing certain things doesn't make you progressive. As an individual, as a community. When you start questioning, it's like when Christians, ilifika point we are starting to ask, oh, how far is too far? How can you, when you start asking, asking those questions, it means maybe when kuna issues. Why question a value system that intention yake ni ya kukuendeleza na kukumeka as a human being, an ideal member of the society. For example, inaitwa ile rembo kuniniwa ile FGM hiyo. That is not progressive, but kuna zile vitu asi atufai kunini tunachuja, but most of the time when we are told to do things, we start fighting against them because tunataka to get excuse for ourselves to do bad things. For like you explain, sometimes you say things to get an excuse for yourself. Nikawa unaenda kuomba umesoma Bible ati commandments nasema do not steal. So sasa unaenda naambia Mungu hakuna God akuspecify. Kwa hivyo nikiwa na njaa alafu niende kastadium say hiyo si mbaya. We start justifying those kind of things. So sometimes let's give people's responsibility whoever is given the power to be our guidance when it comes to the value system, and that's religion. And the political part, the political angle, we give the political elite, the politician, an opportunity to lead us. Let's give them that responsibility and make sure that they live up to their standard. If they don't live up to their standard, there are measures to get rid of them. Yeah.
There's a follow-up question from Patrick Arara where he's saying, so do you think that we should penalize LGBTIs or rule with the Bible or the Quran?
LGBTI ni gani Obuda? Nieleze please.
It's the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex.
Ati tunafaa kufanya nini kuhusu?
Should we penalize them? Or rule using the Bible or the Quran?
Buddha, let's not get into that discussion because you always ni kila mtu akona ma feelings when it comes to that. Unajua? Buddha, me I like napenda warembo. I like one woman. Unajua? So do I go out every day and go, hey Buddha, mimi napenda warembo? I don't need to do that. Unajua? I don't need to advertise that I like women or I like my girlfriend well. So if you think you don't need to justify who you are. If you think that's the right thing to do it. Wewe uko na Mungu wako. Heaven ukiingia futi sita chini utakuwa na mtu hapo akiambia LGBTI Buddha, itakuwa ni peke yako.
So you live your life with your values.
There's no heaven at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, all the LGBTI come this side. I'm going to
what ni mahali pamoja, judgment ni ile and you will have to deal.
Entrance ni exit ni ile. Yani hakunanga cha when you die hivyo. Let's not try to get into things that I don't.
Okay. And I think that's that's an interesting response. I know that we might go on with that conversation. Somebody is saying from on our Twitter handle at PV Victims KE, and as Juliani should come out to sing in a serious way about the victims of post-election violence. And as you need to go and sing for the for post-election violence.
But
victims of post-election violence. Sorry.
Of course, I feel something about whatever happened to that time of our history, as a country. But our tunapenda kuachia watu wengine responsibility sana. Unapenda kuangusha watu wengine noma. Yani Juliani ndiye alifanya hivi, so Juliani ndio ufanye hivi. Buddha. if you want to do it, do something about it, and then when we find out something, we have a part to play, we'll go and play that part. You know, but please don't leave you. If you have a responsibility, do something about it in your own capacity, and then other people eventually join in and support.
And I think, you know, Juliani, that message is coming across very strongly from you, and it's actually something that is a take-home message for anybody who is listening or watching us on this. You're saying you need to take responsibility as a citizen. Kama kuna kitu mbaya na una uwezo wa ku make that wrong, you make it right, do it. Na usingoje mtu mwingine ati ndio atakuja kufanya hiyo story. And that's why I guess you're also involved in a lot of things, eh? Uko na mta challenge, sijui hiyo ingine ni gani?
It's not a lot of things. What I have two companies, and then I have an initiative called Kama CCC. So Kama CCC basically in a handle Mta Challenge, and Mta Challenge basically is to try to mobilize and connect young people with their who come from different neighborhoods, use an online interface of all the Nairobi route numbers, mobilize, and of course get them to engage and form teams and compete with other neighborhoods. Because when we were growing up, we were competing. Mati akina nani nikali kuliko hii route nini, so. But also now we are competing when it comes to business and how to engage, I mean, amongst ourselves and to identify and of course solve some of our issues in our own capacity. So Mta Challenge, that's what in a try to do, just to try to create a network of young people across the country, wale wanaweza do something about their surrounding and then invest in some of their businesses. You know, if they come up with business ideas, we invest in them. Unaona, si ati hakuna cha unajua si youth group unatuacheka 20 bob hapa, yani unajua tulikuwa tunahitaji fare buda, kama huwezi afford fare huwezi ya biashara bana, unajua sasa.
Kwa hivyo upati mzee wote ati mbao venye ati amesema tumwachie kambao, mwachie ka kitu.
Do if you want mbao ni hiyo iko hapo kwa seat kali hiyo, alafu sasa ndio tuongee, unajua. So because we came from the same environment, we came from the same place, unajua. So you can't tell me anything buda, mimi kwanza huwezi niambia anything ati unajua. And mimi nimetoka hapo. But one of the things that we tend to forget is that I say they just need a platform to be listened to, and I think they have a lot to offer. Young people have a lot to offer yani ya kudu vitu. So it's only sisi ndio tuamue, and then we support them. So mimi nashukuru Mungu yani for your opportunity to interact na say as often. So it's a 8-week process that they go through, and then we invest in their business and
and I think Peter Ron, hiyo ndio swali pia yeye anauliza. They posted on our chat line in terms of how far, you know, I think you've talked about how far you have gone with Mta Challenge, Kama CCC. What are your future plans in terms of continuing to change the mindset of young people in the country?
I mean, the most powerful tool I can always use in the music, because the music is way powerful. It goes beyond me. Side mimi niko hapa hivi naongea na nyinyi, but maybe my music is playing somewhere right now, you know, and it's reaching out to as many people as I wouldn't have reached in person. Unaona, Yesu mwenyewe kuget your privilege. Yesu alikuwa anaongea tu na watu wa 12, unaona, na watu wa 12 wanasambaza broken telephone, unajua. Now I have an opportunity to document what we think and share with the gospel. So I'll continue using music. But also one of the things that I'm good at, I think, is mobilizing. So I'm trying to use the power of just being a musician to mobilize and to get young people to think. And you're not talking about just to think out of their surrounding and to get them to try out new things, you know, until one project faulu.
Okay. Na nikuulize on the kufuata sheria. Video ya kufuata sheria naonekana hapo hivyo na Boniface Mwangi, na umeongea kuhusu Boni hata sasa hivi venye ameamua kuhang boots after what happened after his last protest. What do you see, or what do you feel about the future of or kama a young Kenyan anasema hii story sasa pia yeye ameachana nayo, amefika mwisho. What do we tell young Kenyans about taking a stand and asking questions? How do we continue to motivate them?
The good thing
unapanga song kwa power nini? Power 254.
Buda. Msianze maruma azileke
kuuliza tu. Sasa unajua ruma ikiwa huko nje, mtu akisikia ruma kaa hiyo ni poa, sasa ile tuko na wewe hapa hivyo ni kuulize. Si ati maruma hapa pale. Mara hiyo story tunamaliza, twende story ya Boni. You know, in terms of social activism, how do you plan to continue to motivate young people to engage in social justice and activism along the lines of maybe what Boniface was doing and putting out some powerful stuff that you're doing, like what you did with Sarabi Band on Tuata Sheria?
I mean, Boni, what Boni, I'm a little bit close to Boni, and I understand where he come from, unajua, because kwanza kuna beautiful family, yani a beautiful wife, yani unajua watu wake watatu, yani hao ndio mafano wangu, yani mvibaya. So nyinyi mkinichuja kama fan, yani mimi najua watu watatu fulani, yani nyinyi mnazaishia.
Hatuwezi auchujiki.
No, but Boni, the choice that he made, of course, yeye anajua why, because he has a lot to do right now. Yes, mimi niko haya tu, mimi ni ule tu yani.
Uko msingo. I hope kuna watu wanasikiza wale bas tuendelee na story. Wamesikia hiyo.
Boni akona reason zake, and you can never blame him. He is the one understanding. Maybe in time he'll understand. But of course it's frustrating, yani, when you're fighting for people and wazee sasa zile uko hapo kwa street unachapwa matia gasa wako kwa dirisha, unafungua 15th floor, anafunga tu dirisha hivi akichungulia. Huyo kijana wetu ameumizwa. So Boni, you have to feel for Boni for what he did, for what alisema, unaona. But as far as me, what I'm trying to do is, I think I have an angle, and angle is use art, because art is one of the most powerful tools, yani, to do it. And it doesn't mean always complaining about the government. Also, sometimes it's getting rolling your sleeve and doing something about what's happening around you. You know, maybe with the devolution thing happening, the leadership is a little bit closer to us. So right now, ukiwa na shida unaenda na county rep. Ni vijana mna hook up to, you talk to a county rep. You talk to your senator or whatever. Unaona. So right now with the devolution, leadership is a little bit close to. So I'll just continue doing whatever I've been doing as far as mobilizing art and music as a tool.
And do you see? I think. Thank you for sharing. About Boniface, and of course, and being very respectful of his choice. I think ile kitu ambayo wengi wetu tumeka, there's a lot of conversations, watu wengi wamekasirika, watu wengine wameboeka, sijui watu wengine, but I think that you've actually treated that matter in a very respectable way, and I really appreciate that. But you have also talked about huyo mse wa kufungua dirisha kwa akiwa 15th floor, anaangalia anasema inamazia amechapwa boss. Alafu amechapwa, haya anapelekwa jela. Ati wanapelekwa wapi? Do you think that you continue doing what you're doing, that you will be able to reach that person and inspire that person to be able to take their responsibility as a citizen?
Unajua mse akicheki kwa 15th floor dirisha aone oye and the home, unaona. Sasa nataka kuona ilienda paji, huyu kijana alishikwa ama aliachiliwa, and then anaenda afungue mlango vizuri, aingie kwa nyumba, so anaenda kuangalia news, aona TV hakuna.
Hiyo ndio time pia yeye ataenda kwa street.
Exactly, you know. Hiyo ni TV ya pili amebai, kwanza. Jamaa realize ama asifike home, unajua, ama asifike home
hata
maybe asifike home, hiyo mshahara yani ile amekula yani mzee amkute kwa barabara mwambie na mwisho mwezi imefika, so tuachie Kenya, ulituachia kala last time, unajua. It happen once, it happen twice, it happen thrice. They'll have to do something about it. So maybe inanidi kwa hapenia tu tena. Yeah, because they will never understand what Boni represent, because when akiona Boni anasema amefandiwa or whatever. Unaona hao wenyewe hata hizi tondururu kumgeidoe kumwambia buda nunua nao sukari bana, at least watoe silale njaa, unajua. So until sometimes you can always shout and shout and shout, but until they realize it and happen to them, then they'll do something about it.
And it's umeongea, nimekwambia maswali zinakaa Twitter, sijui kwa YouTube, kila mahali, and I don't know why we are now getting some feedback. But umeongea kuhusu kitu ambayo is an interesting concept. Umesema ati wase hata hawezi tuandururu ya kutoa mtu jela ama kuambia mtu kaa wewe ama kuambia mtu kaa Boni or some of the other people wale wanakuanga kwa street. We know, for example, that the progress that people like Okia Omtata has made in court, and how he had chained himself to parliament buildings, and other people like that. Alafu kaambia wase wa Twitter wa hashtag kitu. kwa fuata sheria, si ndio? But Mandela wa Sarabi Band alishikwa kwa February 13. And he was taken to, and it has gone the way that it has gone. Some other people walishikwa wakapelekwa kotini wakachajiwa 200,000.
Wow.
Ujasikia hiyo story?
Mimi unajua mimi watu nchi yangu yani mimi sikuangi online.
Si haikuwa online, si hata kwa nini iko. Anyway, so do you think unaona ni kama tutafika mahali ambapo msee akichajiwa 200,000 au wasi wa 15th floor anaweza toa mandururu hivi 2-3 angalau tumtoe jela ama tulipe hiyo bond?
Baraktoa ndururu watu wa 15th floor wakamwache kazi yao, wakamwakesha hapo na wewe, unajua they stay hapo mpaka achiliwe, because you don't need to use money for something that you think is right. Unaona, if it's your right to demonstrate, if it's your right to be heard, unaona, it's out of 15th floor na dirisha kuchungula kwa 15th floor. Wataka hapo na wewe washare hiyo na nilisikia when it happened, and we made phone calls kidogo, and then now of course tukaambiwa venye kulienda, unaona. So watu wa 15th floor na gorofa, juu ya gorofa wanachungulia kwa dirisha, ni wase, the majority of them are the middle class, and the middle class think they have it, they are living on loan kwanza, unajua.
Mashida ni kibao bwana.
Lazima loan ilipe buda, unajua.
Lazima ilipe, isipolipwa kutaenda vibaya. Unaenjoy watu wa fikra sana wewe.
Unaona, na the same ndio waso hashtag, unajua.
Yeah, that's true. And
the same waso hashtag, most of them kwanza naika bundle ya 10 MB. Wanasumbua nao watu kwa kichwa until leisure, na kesho tena ataenda yake bundle ya 10 MB. Anakatoa yake, anashika mama yake bado. Mama yake
hajahama.
Kijana utahama lini bwana, unajua. So wanaongea tu kuhusu wasichana wako uchi, unaona, and then but eventually when hawezi afford 10 MB utadu.
Alafu ufukuzwe nyumba, mama hapa pia ameboeka naye.
Nimechoka na wewe kijana, hebu toka hapa.
Jipange.
Alafu huo msichana mrembo nadhani figa yake ndio itakunamsaidia. Until kwa mzae aone kumbe kuna msichana mwingine mpya kwa neighborhood wasona muangalia. Atashtuka.
Mambo yanaanza kuenda vibaya.
Priorities have to change.
Okay. Sharon, thank you for joining us. I don't know if you have a question or an issue that you would like to talk with, to hang out with Juliani about. Irene, I can also see Irene is still with us. Peter Ron is still with us. Thank you very much. We have, who is this? Edwin Kiama has also joined us. So anybody who has a question, please, you can notify me on the panel on the right of your machine. Sharon, do you have a question or an area of exploration with Juliani? I guess I think Sharon has nini yake imehang. Irene, any question for Juliani? Or area? Go ahead.
It's not a question, but it's just someone who has interacted with me on Twitter.
Yes.
About just this hangout, and just saying, just a comment. I think religion and politics is the same thing. Lakini Wakristo wanapenda kujitenga. That's he's called shirika la walevi.
Ati shirika la walevi?
Yes.
Haya, Juliani na shirika la walevi amesema hivyo. Utaongea utasemaje?
Shirika la walevi uko wapi sasa zile nini pia? Au pia ukoongea sasa zile kuna ni kubaya.
No, you're saying that they don't see like there's a difference between Christian religion and politics. Is that correct, Irene?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Religion and politics there's a big difference, you know, but imefika point that of course tunaona TV sana and we mix everything together. Everything we see on TV, we take it for the truth. In everything that is happening across this country, everywhere, yani. You have only 30 minutes. People are compiling something for 30 minutes, and you take it as the truth. You're talking about a church. You're talking about a church that the church is doing this and the church is no. Only 30 minutes of your time on TV doesn't mean the church is not doing anything. And of course, the same happens even in our leadership. As much as we would like to say the leadership is bad, but we only have the people we see on our headlines, the people that we are presented to. And all of a sudden tunaongea kuhusu, and then it's soap opera all of a sudden, until we're giving another soap opera, another topic to talk about. So in the real life, apart from the TV world and the Twitter world, there are people who care, people who are hurting as Kenyans, and people who are sincere about what they're doing. And they are the majority. So let's focus on them. Let's focus on what they're saying, and let's interact with them more. And let's use technology and everything that we have to enhance that, and not to think that we are safe because we are behind a computer and a keyboard.
They need to do a little bit more than that. Let me ask you something. And kumalizia tunamalizia. I know that we have taken too much of your time. We really are thankful, Juliani, for hanging out with us. Kumalizia tunamalizia. You've actually talked about music and your music, and there was a question earlier about whether Kenya being a young democracy. Well, I don't know if we are still a young democracy. Whether let me look for the question here. Have you been able to draw lessons from countries like South Africa and other countries where music was such an important component of their social emancipation process?
Of course, there's a DVD I have in it, Amandla. Your DVD, I watched it, and of course it played a huge part of your time, and even now, Sorry. So of course, experience yangu I've done a little bit of research and engaged with a few individuals. Wame confirm that we are not doing bad when we are in the right direction. But don't get it twisted. Music is just supposed to capture what's happening. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that it's intelligent or it knows what it's doing. Music, it just captures, It just documents a certain mood or a certain conversation through poetry. and it passes a message from one generation to the next. So so one of the things that that I think we should do is let's not let's not transfer our responsibility to other people. Let's do what our part and leave other people to do their part also, and also connect with each other and do something about what's happening.
Nafikiria hiyo story inalingana na hii swali limeulizwa hapa na Edwin Kema anauliza ni vipi tunaweza amsha mayouth na Wanjiko wasisimame maovu ya kitawala.
I think kwanza Wanjiko na mayouth wanafaa, first of all wanafaa kuadmit that kuna maovu yanatawala, unajua. You get, because if any young person say the reason why anadhaniana job ni because ajui ana anko fulani kwa ile company, unaona. Ama unajua hii nchi ndio upate kazi lazima ujue mtu. So they blame it on something else and not themselves, understanding that it's their government promised them jobs. Their government said some things for them to them. That maybe they need to follow up on what the government says. There's youth fund. There is all these funds for you as a young person. Jana I got a phone call from Bali sana, unajua. Then jamaa anazusha anasema unajua watu wapatianangi pesa, watu wanapenda kuenjoy watu sana, unajua hiyo. So nikamwambia buda, sawa hujaget do pole. Umeapply? Unajua sija apply sababu unauliza sasa wewe buda, uja apply wenyewe, you haven't go through the process, unaanza kuzusha. No. Go through the process first. No, so don't, as a young person first you have to understand you have a responsibility. Even that I'll keep saying that. And go through the process. And as a young person when amesema you have to first of all realize that there is a problem. Of course, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit there and complain and hopefully watoto wako you think watoto wako get it better? Or are you going to stand and do something about it? And doing something about it doesn't necessarily revolting or kwenda revolution or sijui nini. Sometimes just getting your friends together and asking questions, together. Asking questions together that affect you, that you have a common problem and an affect. So that's the best way to go, and it's a process for us to change whatever it's a process. It's not something that it's all of a sudden everybody is excited, instant coffee, Nescafe, Buddha. Ni kuni, lazima urab the kuni together, na kama hakuna kibiriti utadu. You rub the kuni together, you put the pot down, unaeka na ni githeri, unajua itaiva in time. You have to invest your time, you have to invest.
Uko hauna kiberiti. Hauna kiberiti, unachapisha na mkuni tu uko ati ndio upate moto ya kupika githeri.
Exactly, you'll have to wrap the kunis together, unajua, so that uwashe your moto. So a lot of young people don't want to do that. Now they think they have, one of the things they think that they will be young together. Me say sooner or later ndakuwa mzee, ndakuwa 30 years Buddha. Who would have thought that ndakuwa 30?
Ngoja hujafikisha 30 nani?
Juliani. Nakuwa 30 April, unaona? So
kwa hivyo si mbali sana.
Exactly. Na the other day mimi nilikuwa 20 years hapa hivi, nikiriwandi kidogo nilikuwa na makamasi natoka kwa masikio. Unajua? So how is it that
you ndio time ulianza, that is what about 10 years ago is when you started your musical career, isn't it?
Exactly. Unaona, and now I'm old, unaona. So I'm so soon or later, so let's not forget that we'll one day get old. And if you didn't do anything right now, it will affect eventually, unaona.
Oh, by the way, birthday ni when?
Birthday ni April 22nd na na release album yangu inaitwa Exponential Potential.
Nilikuwa hiyo story nimeifikiria vyenye umesema ati your birthday ni next month. Kumbe. Kwa hivyo Exponential Potential hits is to be released on April 30th. There's April 22nd.
April 22nd, Buddha.
Which is your 30th birthday.
My 30th birthday, Buddha. Sino wazae.
So ukisema wewe ni mzae, mimi nitasema na watu wengine huku kila mtu ni kijana na ni mzae kivyake. I don't know if Sharon, we are coming to the end of quite close to the end of our hangout with Juliani. Sharon, Irene, Nogadara is still listening to us. Peter, Ron as well. We are also joined by Marvin Wekesa. If there's any questions that you, or any areas that you, of interest to you with Juliani, that would be good. Sharon, she says she's fine. She's had a good time listening to you, Juliani. I think we are coming to the end of this. Mazee tumekaa 2 hours. Na unajua mimi na wewe tunaweza kaa hapa mpaka kesho.
Bana.
Na kuna mashughuli ama una shughuli tuendelee? Maswali ni kibao. But you know, there are people also following us on Twitter. There are people following us on our YouTube channel. Wase wa 15th floor baba wanakuona. Wanasikiza hii story. I hope they are feeling challenged by what you're talking about. But it has actually been a wonderful opportunity to hang out with you and to hear a lot of the work that you have been doing. Na, by the way, swali sijakuuliza ama story hujaponga kuhusu you know, utawala, social justice, mambo ya kufuata sheria. Tuliongea hiyo, uliniambia tu watu walikupigia simu wanakuuliza kama uko poa.
A lot of people were concerned that maybe I said the wrong things. Yeah, but you know, I only said what I was hearing, unajua. Doesn't necessarily mean it's my opinion. Yeah.
Do you the biggest question as we come to the end, Juliani, that I would ask, do you consider yourself an enemy of the state? Given all these things that you're doing, you know, standing up, asking questions, activating young people, mobilizing young people so that they can take on their responsibility as citizens and ask the questions. Do you consider yourself an enemy of the state?
Nah, I'm not an enemy of the state. I'm just a citizen. Ule akona upenda kuongea. Unaona? So, and maybe ask questions.
It's about asking questions.
It's just asking questions, and it doesn't mean we might be wrong even with asking questions. You know, it doesn't mean we're right, but we're just asking. No. We just want to understand. Mahindi ilitoka kwa shamba, but haikufika kwa tumbo ya maskini. Unajua, we just want to ask that question. Unajua, it doesn't mean we are pointing fingers. Unaona? But msaki kijishuku anza kusema hapana wewe mbona unaongea kuhusu because anajishuku, unajua. But I'm just a citizen who want the best. Unajua, being a rapper sai, just being a musician every day, you kaji when I'm working on my album sai. Na spend hours yani trying to write music, unajua. And trying to come up with something itakuwa kali wasi wata enjoy, unajua. And then effort yangu yote hizo long hours yani I'm spending to write music. And then of course na do my show and I'm not paid what I'm supposed to be paid, unaona. And wasome pirate ngoma yangu or sijui me happen. Inatenda kumaliza nguvu yako saa zingine, unajua. And kama just somebody is an employee and then NSSF anajua pesa yake tena sijui walifanya investment wapi, walinunua sijui nini, that na pesa yake la ya uzeeni. He's not sure of his future. And this is what every young person is going through right now, and any Kenyan is going through. These are the questions. They are not certain of their future. So we are just asking those questions. And the people we gave that responsibility, inakawaski, unajua? Inakawaski. So what do we do about that? We'll continue shouting until the we watasikia, unajua? Shouting, but nobody, even if you are a corporate, where you are NGOs, you are employed, you're not experiencing your full potential. As a Kenyan right now, you're not experiencing your full potential. There is more for you. The education that we are giving our kids, there's more. I bet you there's more. You know, the kind of food that we eat, the kind of roads that we're driving on. There's more. There have to be more. We are spending money. We are paying taxes. Hata kama see directly VAT at least. So
inakuchapa ni aje.
So let's not pretend there's a problem. There's hakuna
no
wound.
problem.
And the wound is there yani. Utaenda uongeze bandage. Bandage ichimbe tu ndani. Next time utakatwa mguu because now mguu wako haiwezi handle. So the wound is small and it has been for a while. So, but also we shouldn't be hard on ourselves as Kenyans, Pia, because we are just young. We are 50 years old, adolescents. 50-year adolescent.
50-year adolescent.
We are just a 50-year adolescent, and we are trying to figure out things. We have never been here before. We have never had a new constitution before. We have never had such level of press freedom. I mean, of freedom of people talking politics. We have never been here before. So let's not be hard on ourselves, Pia, as Kenyans. We are getting there. Pole pole.
Pole pole. Pole pole tu. Lakini mahindi kitoka kwa shamba ni vizuri ifike kwa tumbo ya mama pale nyumbani, si ndio?
Ifikie tumbo ya maskini itakuwa.
Lazima ifikie tumbo ya maskini. Asante sana Juliani. There's still some questions coming up. Nikuulize because there's something that has come up on a question from Peter Ron. If somebody has some initiatives and maybe they would want to get in touch with you, wakae na wewe venye tumekaa, wapikishe story, wagema direction na tips hapa na pale, wanaweza kugetaje?
Nimecheki hapa Peter Ron amuuliza, wewe umeshuga kodi.
Ndio hivyo.
Wali wewe unatry to make it at Juliani, how could you help young people and who have wonderful initiatives to assist fellows? You're Buddha reduce
the interpret hiyo swali wewe.
No interpret. Yo kizungu no.
Interpret hiyo swali because I think that is what the person is asking, how can somebody get in touch with you? They want to do something with youth. They want to do some things in their community. Maybe they don't have funding. How can they get in touch with you?
First of all, ukikam kwangu, be assured you won't get funding.
Good. Good. Thank you for clarifying.
You won't get funding. You'll get more than that. But if you're really good at it, you're good at it. Funding is the issue always. As long as you look organized and you look like mimi nikieka bopi yangu hapo tarudi ama inakaita do something. So young people should stop looking. Young people wache ufala. They stop looking for funding and stop looking for people to help. They should go inside ndani yao and look for solutions and connect with other people who thinks the same and do something about something. Unajua kama ni njaa yako, get other young people and do something about your njaa. Unajua kama ni your government, do man. Wasiwezi gonna fight your own battles, man. Everybody has their own battles, Buddha. So young people watch to follow, for lack of a better expression, excuse my Christianity.
If it needs to be said, it needs to be said. Kama your experience, it's showing that watu wache ufala. Tuwaambie, I mean, wasewa tushanure vijana so that they know that they need to stand up, and I think that your message is a very strong message that kama sisi ni nani?
Yes, man. Yes.
Isn't it? Yes. That is the message. Kama sisi ni nani? I know Marvin Wekesa has also put up a question here, but I really think we need to come to an end of our hangout.
Nimesoma hiyo swali yake.
Anaongea kuhusu ukabila, tuwaelimishe kivipi?
Huwezi waelimisha sawa young about ukabila because they learned it from their parents and that's the only thing they saw working. No. If that's the only thing they saw working, why should they try something else? Unaona, waliona umejua kitambo ilikuwa ni nani mjaluo Nyayo House unatafuta ule mtoto wa nani si anafanya Nyayo House. Unaona, and then nyao sanaenda kabila yako, wewe umeonanga tu vitu zikihappen through your tribal lines, unaona. Achana hawa Kikuyu wanafanya sijui nini, achana huo Mjaruo, unaona. So they saw things working through their tribal lines, so why should they think otherwise sometimes, unaona. And majority of youth, that's what they go through, unaona. But mimi, when I was growing up in Dandora, the only people that tulikuwa nao tunashare nao ploti moja na Kikuyu, the only people that had a bike walikuwa Kikuyu, the only people that were allowed to come to on a great wall yao saa zile kuna race ni Wakikuyu. So ni pia upbringing ya mtu, unajua. Mimi siezi my girlfriend ni Mkikuyu, unaona. So that's what that's how I've been brought up, unaona. So for them to stop tribalism, it will take a while, Buddha. For that, it will take a while, because that's the immediate option when things go wrong. That's where we run to. That's the immediate option we have when things go wrong. Unaona. And eventually, yani tutomia. And of course, young people took a part of it. I thought we were different. I thought, sisi ni wase wa Twitter, sisi ni wase wa nini, tuko affected. But sasa wanatoka tu kwa zile manyumba ziko hivi, unajua. So why expect more from them? Unaona.
Sorry, excuse me. And nafikiria pengine is ni vile tu you're saying, I think that's very interesting, that ni venye wamezoea, ni venye wamegrow wakiona ikiwa hivyo, but at the same time, if there's somebody who is going to make it stop and bring an end to it, it also has to start with us.
Yeah,
one person good to say no.
It will take a time. It will take its time. Yani, it will take time. Let's be realistic, because si tumezoea sana tumezoea first aid and not the real cure. Not the real cure. Unajua, when things are wrong, tunadu first. Sai nobody's talking about elections. Nobody's talking about mobilizing your youth to even understand their rights when it comes to when the election will come. Right now is when we're supposed to be tunaendelea, so that when it comes to even time election, people can make right decisions when it comes to voting, unajua. But wasona goja the last year before the election. Sasa watu tunasumbuliwa na masimu hapa, unajua tunafanya kitu kingine kufanya vijana na watu wa Kenya wakuwe na peace, unaona. Now hapo ndo watasoma, and yet it's supposed to be right now we're supposed to be engaging young people as much as we can, so that
and I think that's a very important thing you have said, because on Twitter we have an organization called TISA Kenya. And they have said, ukumbuke, remember to advise the youth of Kenya that public participation is not a favor, it is their right and it is their responsibility.
Yeah. But even in the political parties, we should be engaged through the political parties, because that's the political parties is where those leaders are groomed. You know, so of course that's different. That's something that maybe in deep sana we cannot talk about right now. But you can, as an individual, you can work as hard, but if politically things are not right, you won't get the best out of your time. Okay. So that's how we get people to involve in politics, and it doesn't mean you have to be a leader or you have to be an MP. It just means that keeping your leadership to accountable and to what they said, and to get the best for your time and your effort, and to get the best out of this country, because we have a beautiful and amazing country. And
thank you so much, Juliani. Mimi na wewe we can go on for a really long time. When is the album launch? Umesema ni 22nd
April. Bibi tunasema bwana na bibi.
Bibi na bwana.
Mabibi na mabwana.
Mabibi na mabwana. Ita launch wapi?
No, it's just a release. We are planning to have it across the country, and we are talking with some guys to have it launch yani mara moja the whole country. Okay. So to have a distribution point. And then now August is when we'll do a concert.
Oh,
August is when we'll do a concert, but hiyo siku yani nakata cake yani 30 years. Mimi mzae.
Haya basi utakatia wapi keki tukam ama utaki kutukam kule keki boss? Wacha kuwa mchoyo. Nimekujua miaka mingi boss. Hukuangi hivyo.
Market crusher.
Lakini invite tutakam.
Market crusher do.
Hatutakuwa gate crashers sababu tutakuwa umetuinvite.
Mmoja kwa wedding always mchele uishe kwa wedding. Unaona hata mchele wa wedding wa mbana uishe. Hebu mali keki poa. Unaambia ati kadi na admit one, all of a sudden unaleta best yako, friends yako, unaleta girlfriend yako na masista zake. Buda.
Waambie one card invites one. Mtu asikuja tena sistake na boyfriend ya sistake mwenye anakuja na kazi ya sijui nani.
Ndakuwa na bounce hapo yani. Unauliza wapi present yako? Wapi present yako?
Present. Ama M-Pesa. Mtu aonyesha ate ashatumana ka M-Pesa hivi kakitu kako, si ndio? Miaka 30, that's a milestone. That's a milestone. And it's wonderful. It's really been a wonderful afternoon, Juliani. I really I'm going to ask you this on air if you're gonna come back. We really would like to, because there's still questions coming in. There's still people who are very interested in the work that you're doing. You continue to inspire a lot of people in this country with your work. Not only with your music, but also in terms of your work that you're doing with young people, the entire challenge, Katakana CCC campaign, and all those kinds of things. It's really been wonderful to have you here. We're really humbled by the work that you're doing, and would love to have you back on this hangout. To chill out tu hivi. Si unaona si kitu ngumu?
Si ngumu sana. At least kuna maji hapa.
Kuna maji katurungi.
Nashukuru sana bidii sana kwa time yenu, na of course everybody that wametake time yao. Najua ni waseni mahaslo na mrembo hapo on the side, na Abu jamaa Peter hapo, na jamaa Tisa amefreeze tu hapo. Nashukuru yani for kila mtu ameshow up. Na wengine kwa dunia nyingine. Because of course wase ku take time yao na kushare na mimi, so nashukuru. Asante kupita kwa Kasadia.
Next time I promise you utakam nitakuwa namba dondo na chapo 2.
Hapa hii neighborhood there is no chapo na uni.
Wewe mimi si wa 15th floor boss.
Buda hii neighborhood
wa 15th floor I can madondo, chapo na turungi. I will make it happen. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Juliani, for hanging out with us, and for everybody else who has participated in our conversations. This has been part of our continuing series of Enemy of the State ? Hosted by Maskani ya Taifa and Nisisi. We look forward to seeing you on our next show, or on our next hangout. Meanwhile, you can follow us, Maskani ya Taifa. Our Twitter handle is @Maskani254. We also you can follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Nisisi. You can find us on Facebook as Maskani. You can also follow us on Twitter at Nisisi Kenya. Wonderful to have you with us. We look forward to seeing you in our next episode. But for now, goodbye and thank you very much.